Dead by Sunset by I Am, when the only friends you have in the world turn against you. Not just away from you, not just forget about you, but when they start seeing you as an enemy. What do you do when there's nothing left? Can't get my mind off that line of thinking ever since the start of the Anon-A-Miss. That's been destroying what little bits of my life I've managed to scratch back together after the fall formal. The more I think about it, the more the whole mess makes a twisted kind of sense though. After all, I hurt so many people during my tenure as Queen Bee Bitch of Camelot High, right? So there was bound to be someone who held a grudge. Even worse, it's probably someone I hurt pretty bad. Well, at least bad enough for them to want to ruin my life. Fair enough, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if I ruined theirs at some point. So what's left for Sunset Shimmer? The once and future fuck-up? I stare up at the thick gray-white clouds. The snow is coming down harder than it was this morning. I originally came up to the roof of the school to get some air. The atmosphere in the school is pretty oppressive. Yeah, I'm skipping a class, but hey, at least no one's going to come out here to hassle me. Why harass me in the biting cold when they can just as easily shoot spitballs at the back of my head in the warmth of the hallways after I come back down? So here I am, feet dangling over the edge of the roof as flurries of snowflakes dance around the air, and it's bitterly cold. I'm sure the rest of the school body couldn't care less, but I'm also fairly certain none of them are squatting in an abandoned railway station office at the edge of town. It's awesome in the summer, nice and cool, but the winters are bad. Sometimes really bad. Last year I managed things by sneaking into the school library and sleeping there. All it took was futzing with the library security camera's swivel a little to make a blind spot, and voila! Instant winter getaway. That's not happening this year though. I'm too high profile. Plus, with the generator in my basement being bricked, my current digs are pretty much unlivable. The only upside that shithole even has versus being out in the open anymore is the roof it puts over my head. And if I'm being honest, the leaks are starting to make that look questionable. I briefly considered trying to find a new place to hole up in, but honestly, there's no way that would fly at the moment. It's the same problem there as it is with the library. I just can't go anywhere without someone keeping an eye on me. And I don't have my blackmail and extortion to fall back on anymore. Not that I regret that part. Changing was good. It needed to happen. I know that. My bad decisions just caught up with me is all. That did mean, of course, that all that was waiting for me back home was a cold cement floor, brick walls, a pile of ratty blankets on a military cot, and an empty belly. I really shouldn't have skipped lunch, but I just couldn't bear to be in the cafeteria with everyone. With them. With my former friends. I clench my eyes shut as the wet heat of tears start pushing their way out. It feels like I'm choking and drowning all at once as the tears track down my cheeks, only to freeze before they even reach my chin. I just wanted friends, I choke out quietly. I just wanted to be good. No one hears me, but I don't need anyone to. I'm the only one who needs to hear it. I think about the book Princess Twilight left me. I had written to her about the mess I was in, but her only response hadn't been very useful. I mean, I get it, she's a princess. She has more on her plate than resolving some stupid rumor mongering. But I'm her friend too, right? Would it be that much trouble to help me? Sunset! I nearly jump out of my skin, wheeling my arms a little as my butt slides around for a second before I find my balance again. I turn to see Vice Principal Luna looking at me evenly. What are you doing out here? Luna closes some of the distance, her arms crossed against the cold. It's freezing and you have class. I swallow down the rest of my tears and do my best to wipe away the little trails of grime they'd left on my face. The look on Luna's face when I turn to face her tells me I didn't do a very good job. Yeah, I know, sorry, I answer, trying to ignore the hitch in my voice. It's pretty bad down there, honestly. I figured I'd get some fresh air and some peace and quiet. Luna lets out a small sigh and nods. I see. Well, whatever you may think, I do understand your situation. More than you might expect. So, I'm going to offer some advice. Stop, apologize, and get it over with. Her words send an iron spike through my heart. Even the teachers think I'm guilty. Everyone thinks I'm guilty. Luna continues without pausing. My sister and I can't really do anything given that the whole matter is happening and you obviously don't like or want this any more than anyone else. Luna steps forward and puts a hand on my shoulder. I don't even have the strength to flinch away. I don't know why you've returned to your old tactics, but it's clear you regret it. If everyone continues to lash back and forth at one another like this, I fear there will only be broken hearts in the end. Someone has to break the cycle, and I suggest that it be you. I try to say something, I swear I do, but my mouth doesn't want to open. The words won't come. I want to defend myself, to tell her that it's not me. It was never me, but why would she believe me? The vice principal is right. This looked exactly like something the old me would have done. Spread lies, make rumors, and try to tear everyone apart. Except from everyone else's point of view, it's just didn't work this time. Ren's quill, it really must look like that from the outside. Like big bad bitch Sunset Shimmer was pulling the mother of all long cons to make herself a hero, then takes another swipe at ruling the school only to trip at the finish line. Even the girls that called themselves my friends must have, even just subconsciously, been waiting for the other shoe to drop. Everyone was. Now this whole mess is just lining up with what everyone has been secretly expecting all along. So that's it. I let out a slow, shaky breath and nod. I look up at Luna, who's giving me a small smile. I try to match it, but I can feel how glass fragile the expression is. Good. I'm glad you've made the right decision, Luna says, patting my head. A few minutes ago, the patronizing act would have made me mad. Now I don't feel a thing. Your friend should still be in class. I recommend getting it over with quickly, okay? We'll see how things go after that. I nod. She's definitely right. Yeah, I'll get it over with right away. Now, I'm going back inside. You should too. It's awfully cold out here. You have no idea. I'll be off the roof in a minute, I promise. I just need to make sure I have everything. Seemingly satisfied, Luna walks back towards the door. I turn back to the roof edge, where I left my backpack, and pull out the journal, opening it to the next empty page as I hear the door open and then close. I take out my pen and think for a moment before settling on the appropriate way to phrase my letter. Dear Twilight, I wanted to impart a lesson of my own today. Sometimes friendship fails. I'm not really sure it's anyone's fault either. Sometimes things just happen and the worst comes to pass. Bonds dissolve, friendships fade. Trust is broken, and at the end of the day, we're left alone. That might seem harsh, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that what's going to happen now is not your fault. Okay? You tried and trusted, and the world failed you, just like it did me. You can't save every pony you know. Sometimes there's just nothing left to save. Sometimes you do your best and it doesn't work. Goodbye and good luck. Yours forever faithful, if not successful, Sunset Shimmer. P.S. I left my grimoire in the Carolot Station office on the east edge of town if you want it. It's probably the only thing I brought over here that's worth recovering. I close the book and it snaps shut. I feel lighter than I have in weeks. I clutch the journal to my chest and feel the tears track down my cheeks again. I'm taking Luna's advice and just getting it over with quickly. I step up onto the edge and look down at the main entrance of the school. Oof, that's not gonna be pretty, I mutter. Oh well, not like it'll matter to me. At least it's cold, so it shouldn't be too messy. Kind of ironic too, actually, since I can still see the discoloration of the cement, the new melded with the old, from where I'd been hit by the elements of harmony during the fall formal. I'm going to end it all today, right where it should have ended back then. I turn on my heels, better to land on my back, I think. Besides, I've always liked the grayscale winter skies. Tightening my grip on my journal, I tip and fall back, and as I do, the roof access door opens back up. Oops, Luna must have had something else to say. I feel a slight twinge of regret as I drop over the edge. She saw me, and I definitely saw the look on her face. the look of horror. I hear her scream my name. Sorry, VP. You tried your best. I appreciate it. I really, really do. But my past is not today. My future is not tomorrow, and my present is over. I let the wind take me away. Sunset, no! Rarity, Rainbow, Fluttershy, Applejack, and Pinkie hear the shriek from above where they were sitting in algebra. Rarity's seat is nearest to the window. She prefers it there, especially in winter, because it lets her look out over the beautiful snowy landscape. She's getting an idea for a new winter coat, something that flows and rolls like the hills on the edge of town with unbroken smoothness. Maybe some emerald green threading to evoke the idea of the evergreens, still rife with color even in the heart of winter. All of them hear the shriek, but Rarity is the only one looking out the window when the shape passes by. Just a flash of red and gold hair, dark leather and boots, followed by a dull, wet crack. The entire class is muttering, shocked and surprised at the sound, but most of them are looking out towards the hall or up at the ceiling in confusion. None of them understand when Rarity starts screaming. Sunset, no! Luna screams as the infinitely tired and disheveled-looking Sunset disappears over the edge of the roof, and suddenly Luna is running faster than she's ever run before. She needs to get to the edge. Maybe Sunset is still there, maybe she's hanging on for dear life. Luna doesn't even get to the edge before she hears the sound of something hard hitting the cement with a meaty crack. The sound takes the life out of her, and Luna drops to her knees at the edge of the roof, feeling a sudden weight clenching her gut and gripping her heart. Looking out over the city of Canterlot, there's a brief moment where it's not quite real, where Luna can just think about how beautiful the city is, and about how she could look down. She definitely could. She really, really doesn't want to. Then she hears a girl start screaming from a classroom below. Tears start pouring down Luna's face. She failed. Failed as badly as any teacher, as any person could fail. Luna turns her face down, forcing herself to look on the final result of her negligence, to see whatever ruin was left on the front steps of her and her sister's school, to see the reality of her total incompetence. She looks down at the entrance of the high school and sees a smear, a faint red smear on the cement and nothing else. Blinking in confusion, she leans over, disgusted but terrified that Sunset had somehow slid. There's nothing. There's no body, no sunset shimmer, but there is blood. Casting all thought of her own safety to the winds, Luna sprints across the snowy rooftop to the fire access stairs, hanging on the edge of the building. The cold, aged, and poorly cared for steel bites hard into her hand as she careens down the loose, slaloming stairs to the frosted grass below. She cuts herself on the ragged metal, but she couldn't care about that right now. Sprinting for the corner, Luna turns hard, her Converse digging through the manicured lawn of the school. There, the entrance of the school. Luna reaches it, just as Rarity comes tearing out of the double doors. Sunset! Sunset! Rarity was screaming at the top of her lungs, her face panicked and terror-ridden. Tears streaked mascara across her face as she turns this way and that. For the love of God, Sunset, where are... Rarity's voice dies in her throat at the sight of the blood staining the cement. Her friends come out quickly after that, wearing expressions of worry and confusion. Luna approaches from the side, but Rarity catches sight of her before she can say a word. For once lacking a single thought towards propriety, Rarity grabs Vice Principal Luna by the lapels of her coat and shakes her as hard as her thin teenage arms can manage. Where is Sunset? Rarity shrieks. The other five are just staring in dumbfounded confusion at the girl yelling at their teacher. Then they look at the smear. That's when Luna sees the panic really start to set in. Where's my friend? The vice principal just shakes her head. I don't know. I saw her fall. I saw her and I thought I heard her hit. When I looked down, but when I looked down, it was just that. Luna gestures at the smear. The panic on the faces of the other five becomes truly intense at the vice principal's words. Whipping around, Rarity makes a slashing motion with her hand. What are you all waiting for? Let's find her! They searched long into the evening until the early winter night descended over them. The whole of the school grounds and beyond is scoured, and at the end of it all, the only trace of the girl with red and gold hair is the blood on the cement and a memory of a scream. Sunset Shimmer had vanished.